Welcome back to Stamping at the Warren, and I'm Kim Tolton, and today we're going to be using the Awesomely Artistic stamp set, and just that one stamp set. And I didn't introduce myself. I'm Kim Tolton, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in the UK, and I'm going to be doing it's almost like a work in motion, because I'm actually going to be making a card as we go, but it's going to incorporate this technique of emboss resist. So it's going to look very much like this, but it's going to be finished with onto an A6 card. So first of all, we have got a mountain fold card here. You could do it as a side fold, but I'm doing it as a mountain fold. So for this, I trimmed a piece of A4 card in half at 10.5 centimetres on the lengthwise. So you get two pieces that come out at 30 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres. Score each piece at 14.8 centimetres, and you'll have two card bases. This here is crumb cake that I'm using here. I could have used the Tip Top Taupe, but I actually want this tone on tone effect, and you'll see why when we come to that later. There's also a piece of shimmery white cardstock which measures 10 centimetres by 10 centimetres, and then we have a matte layer for that, which is 10.4 centimetres by 10.4 centimetres. That will sit on there with the main embossing, and then this is the extra piece we need to do the dragonfly. So to start off with, we need to do the emboss resist, and I rather like this flower. I've fallen in love with it, and this was from yesterday's project, so I've left it there until this piece of paper looks a little bit sorry for itself. So first of all, you want to mount the flower stamp onto your block, and using Versamark, you're going to ink it up nicely, plenty of it, and you're just going to do one corner, ink it up again, and do the opposite corner and rotate your flower stamp at the same time. And you then need some clear embossing powder. I keep mine in take-out trays with a little plastic spoon, and it just makes life a little bit easier for me, but you can use glitter trays or whatever you prefer, really. Give it a tap, and I forgot to actually wipe my cardstock with my embossing buddy first, which is very naughty of me. There's my embossing buddy, and it helps stop static. Right, bring in your craft mat, pop that. Sorry, somebody's playing with my doorbell, and there's all different tunes playing out there. I haven't got a clue what's going on. Right, your silicone craft mat, just to protect your working space. Get your heat tool heated up before you start putting it on. Now, you don't need to waggle it around. You just hold it about 1 centimetre away from your card, and just hold it in place until you start to see the embossing powder starting to melt, and then just do large circles, no waggling. Nice, gentle, and what you'll find is by not waggling it, it doesn't warp as much. You just wait for the melting, and then nice big circles. None of this. Doesn't get you anywhere. Just makes you feel frustrated. This is much more calming. And that's it. Before I get really inky, I'm going to do the rest of the stamping that's going to be on direct onto the card base here. And for that, I'm using Tip Top Taupe. So we're going tone on tone here. And I'm just going straight over the top of that ink pad without cleaning it. It doesn't make any difference because all that's been on there is Versamark. And there, a little bit there, and a little bit there, and that should be sufficient. So if you bring in that there, you should just get a hint of the pattern either side. Right, now we get into an inky mess. So we're going tone on tone again, so we're using Tip Top Taupe ink, Stampin sponge, get it really, really nicely inked up. You do have to re-ink your ink pads a bit more often if you do a lot of sponging, but not too much. And I really love the vintage colour of this Tip Top Taupe. And how I do it, I start with my two corners. And I get some ink going on there. And then I go round in quite large circles, just inking up all the edges. You'll find the residual ink on the stamp is sufficient. Okay, and then what you're going to do is ink it up a bit more, and you're going to get more ink in the middle and then bring those circles out wider. But you kind of want a highlight of blonde coming through the centre of there, so don't completely cover everything. And for me that is sufficient. So you just want a piece of tissue and just rub over the top of your embossed image, and this colour will lighten. Can you see how much ink has actually come off? That's just by taking off some residual ink that was on top of the embossing powder, and it just gives it a nice clearer, crisp image. So next you want to mat this onto your 10 by 10 or 10.4 by 10.4 centimetres. Because this does warp a little bit, just Fast Fuse I find or Tombow is the best two adhesives to use because they really hold the cardstock nice and flat then. And then bring in that scrap piece of cardstock, and this time you want basic black ink. That's my colour caddy with all my ink pads on, going round and round. There we go. And you want the dragonfly stamp. I'm using archival black. I quite like the alcoholic smell of it. Give that a nice stamp. And whilst that is drying, you can put your friend I'm going to put this in the centre here roughly, just so it makes it pop up a little bit more. Right, so the next thing to do, if you're using archival ink pads, because they're alcohol based, please make sure you close them up straight away, otherwise everything just starts evaporating. I've got to find my paper snips in here, look, there they are. This is my toolbox that sits with me within my hand reach all the time. Right, now to cut out, the basic principle with hand snips is you rotate the card, not your scissors. So you don't do this with your scissors, you actually are doing this with your card. I have cut out hundreds of these because I've done them for swaps and the such like. So how I've found it works best, start one side of the thorax, isn't it, of the dragonfly, and then you can rotate it up and round. Now I know this looks all very flat and bland at the moment, but there is a final little flourish that is going to bring this to life. And just take your time. If you need to cut off excess card like I've just done, do your best to get close to the lines, but you do need a millimetre or so around them just to help give definition to the dragonfly. See how quick that is? And then you come down this side of the dragonfly, and then I just snip at an angle, and there's your dragonfly. So let's get this card being put together. So I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to lift this up. Use all my nice edge bits. Side. This goes down in the middle of your card base, and you just got that stamped image peeking out. That goes on there. Your next job is, and I've lost my little, no I haven't, I thought I'd lost my dragonfly. Now, I'm sure it is by design. I'm sure Stampin' Up does all of this by design because coordination is their big selling feature. But a Stampin' Dimensional actually fits in between these wings without showing from the other side. Ta-da! How cool is that? Huh? I'm sure it's all by design. I'm absolutely certain of it. Pop that down, and then we're going to bring in the magic. And this is my piece of magic. This is a Wink of Stella. If you haven't heard of Wink of Stella, you must. You need to know about it. It is the finest glitter glue you will ever come across, and Stampin' Up is now stocking it in the spring summer catalogue in both clear, which I'm using today, and also gold, which would be super for Christmas. And if when you start you don't get much in the way of glitter coming out, if you just press where it says push on the, I don't know if you can see there, the glitter starts coming through. Now I've squeezed too much, that's fine, I just pick it up and I use that. And it dries so quickly. And if you love your cards to shimmer, you just have to have it. I'm sorry, but you do. Yeah, I'm just picking up that from there. I'm going to hold that up. Can you see? I don't know if you can, but can you see the shimmer on that card? It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. Okie dokie. I'm just going to wipe that so it doesn't spread absolutely everywhere. But you can see, look, that's drying already. It dries really fast. And then for a little added piece of sparkle, I am just going to add a few basic rhinestones, just using my paper piercing tool. And one up there. And there you have it. There is today's card. So I hope you like it. I'll see you again tomorrow for another project. Remember that all my social media accounts are in the show more section under today's video. There's also a comment section, so please do leave your comments. I do love to hear from you. And if you have any questions or anything like that, or any topics you'd like covered within the sphere of Papercraft, just let me know and I will do my best to accommodate. Otherwise, I'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget my community Pinterest board. If you go onto my blog, and there is a direct link from my video to my blog, if you go to my blog, you will find that the community Pinterest board for Stamping at the Warren is on the left hand bar of my blog. If you click on there and start following it, I will send you an invitation. As long as I can see you've got an interest in Papercraft, I'll send you an invitation to join the board. And if you choose to accept, you don't have to. If you choose to accept, then you can start posting your own pictures or pictures that you have gained inspiration from on Pinterest, and add them to the board. It's a great community, growing rapidly now, so I think there's well over 1,000 people on there now, so it's a well-used site, and I'd love to see you there. Thanks for taking the time to watch today, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. Ta-ta for now.